Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So happy Monday. Is it really happy? But it is here. And I'm here to talk about the current Bitcoin crash right now. And that's because we have a couple of things going on, including a huge 9 billion distribution that's incoming. And this is causing a lot of fear. So let me explain this and explain everything else that's going on in the world of crypto today. All right, let's do it. Welcome, guys. Some of you guys are waking up just now. And Bitcoin is not doing so good this morning at 61.2. Obviously, you could see here, last night we were about 62 something. We had a big dip. Now we're back down to 61. And we're definitely way below 63.7, which was just a day ago, right? So what's causing all this? Well, I have some answers for you guys. First of all, if you look at a US market, not so good. We got a couple red indexes, S&P 500, NASDAQ going down, so that is causing a little bit. But obviously, the US market has been kind of sideways, so of course that is contributing a little bit to what Bitcoin's weakness. But I already mentioned this many times last week. The German government, Germany itself, dumped about $300 million of the Bitcoin last week, right? Caused a lot of commotion. I'm looking at the addresses right now. The transactions, I should say. I removed my camera here so you could see. The last few transactions were actually inflows from Kraken. They had about 300 down here, 300 from Kraken, and then 10 from some other address and 10 from Kraken that they put back in. So it does seem like they kind of, I don't know, they changed their mind, maybe because of all the press, the bad press that happened. So they decided, okay, we got to stop because this is not a good look, not what we want right now, right? So today's drop can't be blamed on Germany. They have not sold anymore, but last week, all the weakness that we had last week was definitely from Germany because they didn't just sell $300 million worth of Bitcoin on or through the OTC market. They sold it on the spot market on the major exchanges like Kraken and Coinbase and Bitstamp, which made no sense whatsoever. And where did they get 50,000 Bitcoin and they still hold 47,000, roughly 2.9 billion? Where did they get that from? Well, they took it from someone they arrested that was running an illegal movie streaming site for many years, and he used all that money to buy Bitcoin. He became a billionaire because of it, but after his arrest, he just gave it all up and gave it to Germany. You know, had he just kept his mouth shut, he would still be a billionaire. But, I'm sure he was trying to play, he was playing for a lower sentence. But anyways, so the German government got all this Bitcoin. They don't know what to do with it. In fact, they made money with it, and now all of a sudden they decided to sell, right? No one knows why last week. No one knows why they did it on the open exchanges. They try to hide it because they sent it to 4 different exchanges rather than one. But of course, someone like Arkham was like, no, we could see it, right? And then they stopped. So we'll see if they sell anymore. Hopefully not. If they do, maybe do it through the OTC market, not on the spot market. But that's not what's causing today. What's causing today is this. So the mt.gox trustee, after 10 years of going back and forth through the courts and negotiating, and they actually sold off a ton too back in 2018, 2019 through the spot market as well because they didn't know what the hell they were doing too. So they actually caused a lot of crypto winter back in 2018, 19, and 2020. And but this time around, it's finally coming to an end, supposedly. Okay, no more delays, No more hearings, no more negotiating, nothing. Okay? About $9 billion worth of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash will be repaid to all the creditors that have been waiting, and it's going to happen next month. Okay, $9 billion worth. So it's 191. It doesn't say. I remember. 141,000 Bitcoin, and they already transferred it last month. So it's sitting there waiting to be distributed. Now, this is what's causing fear right now. But remember, not everyone, you can make the argument, even most people that are getting it back, there's no indication they're just going to dump or sell. Maybe Bitcoin Cash because it's trash. But it's still money, right? It's still crypto, and we're still way higher than we were before. And we know that the bull market is here too. And for someone that's a true Bitcoiner that's been holding for 10 years, what's another year to wait, right? Especially now since Bitcoin has 61,000. So I don't know. For me, yes, I do think some people will sell after waiting so long. Maybe they don't believe in Bitcoin anymore. And once they get it, they're going to sell. But I believe most people that lost money in Mt. Gox are still Bitcoiners. They still believe in Bitcoin. And if they get it back, it's great. And they're just going to continue to hold it. So I think there's a lot of unwarranted FUD here. So it's not like $9 billion worth of Bitcoin is going to be liquidated on Coinbase and then the cash is distributed. That's not what it's about. So this is actually just distributing the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash out. So can it disrupt the price a little bit more? Sure. But is it as bad as what Germany did, selling on selling on spot market? No, it's not going to be like that at all. But I do think this is the major news of today because this came out today and it's causing a little bit more fear. That's really what it comes down to, right? But those of you guys that have been waiting for your Bitcoin Cash for like 10 years, well, you're finally going to get it next month. So you should be cheering for that, right? So that is the major FUD story of today. Now, in addition, besides Germany and Mt. Gox, we do still have miners that are selling, right? So I don't want to just say everything, all the price movement is just due to the FUD. And yes, Wall Street is selling. And yes, some retail investors are selling. Panic hands, lettuce hands are selling. But miners are also. So I don't know when miners are going to stop too. This is kind of staggering. Bitcoin miners sold about 30,000 Bitcoin, $2 billion within a matter of a month. Okay, and I've explained this many times before, why miners are selling. No, it's not because they're giving up on Bitcoin. It's because they're either forced to because they can't survive, or they're doing it because they want to expand. I mean, I don't know how much it costs to create a single Bitcoin, but it's probably the high 50s to low 60s. And for many of the smaller miners, their cost is a lot higher. So they actually are operating at a loss. So they have to sell. So that also is contributing to Bitcoin's weakness right now. But here's the thing. Miner reserves are now down to a 14-year low. 14-year low. That brings us back to 2010 levels. Just think about that for a second. Bitcoin was created in 2009, and people started mining with just their CPUs. And 2010, Bitcoin's price was like at $10, maybe less. So the miners right now, hold the same amount of Bitcoin as they did in 2010, which is very low. Very, very low. So ultimately, this is a good thing. Short term, yes, bad thing. Long term, this is absolutely great. Where do you think, once Bitcoin turns up and the ETFs start having massive inflows again, where do you think they're going to get their Bitcoin from? If they can't buy from the miners. If the miners run out, then who are they going to buy from? They're buying directly from miners right now. And, of course, the exchanges. But if miners have none to sell, and then pretty soon exchanges have none to sell because exchanges are down to 2017 levels, then they're going to have to buy on spot market eventually, or OTC market. But if there's no one there to sell, they have no choice to buy on a spot market. And that's when price really gets nutty. That's when things really start flying. We're not there yet. But long term, this is actually a really good thing. Let the miners sell out their supply. That means the big institutions can no longer buy from them, right? And then they're going to go to the exchanges, and then they're going to drain the reserve of the exchanges next. And then after that, well, that's when the moon comes, right? So that is also contributing short term to the volatility and the dump and the crash that we're seeing. But here's the thing. If you understand all this, right? I broke it down really simply. If you understand all this, you are not panicking, right? Just like Metaplanet, just like MicroStrategy. They kind of understand now, right? That Bitcoin is the one that you hold long term, and you got to load up no matter what as much as you can before it gets too expensive. So Metaplanet, they're really just copying MicroStrategy at this point because they know it works and they understand. They just issued $1 billion worth of bonds. Guess why? They're raising that money to buy more Bitcoin. Where have we heard this from, right? Again, MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor has perfected this, and now we have a lot of big companies that are following the same footsteps, right? Just keep in mind, with all the volatility and everything that we're seeing, that doesn't change the fact that inflation is still an issue. Inflation will always be an issue. And everything we're going through doesn't change the fact that governments and central banks, they still don't know how to solve the problem they cause. This endless cycle of monetary policy or monetary tightening and loosening and overprinting and borrowing. I mean, there's just too much going on. That's never going to be solved. It's going to be a forever perpetual cycle of badness, so to speak, and inflation will always be a thing. So if you truly understand that, then you know you need to hold on assets like Bitcoin. Despite the short-term volatility, long-term, nothing outperforms it. So Metaplanet understands. You got a lot of Japanese institutional investors that also understands. And of course, Wall Street, a lot on Wall Street now understand. That's why they're buying so much Bitcoin, including BlackRock. BlackRock's IBIT just has zero outflows. Even though the other ETFs do have outflows, BlackRock is like, no. Larry Fink is like, no, I'm going to hold on whatever we have. I don't care. He understands, right? And that's the way to do it. And of course, Saylor, the most bullish bull of them all, is saying Bitcoin will reach $10 million each. Don't know when, but he believes that's how high each one will go. And he has a lot of things to say about that. What's the difference between perfect money and imperfect money? Perfect money is economic immortality. Imperfect money is we all have a short, brutal life. Economics is pseudoscience before Satoshi. It's quasi-religious liberal art. And it's full of people's opinions and prejudice and biases. All the economists before Satoshi was trying to work out laws of the economy with seashells and glass beads and pieces of paper and credit instruments. The average life expectancy of a corporation is something like 10 years. We're talking about eliminating corporate mortality. We're talking about stretching economic vitality easily by a factor of 10, maybe a factor of 100, maybe by a factor of 1,000,000. Yeah, it's almost like religion at this point. that's how he's talking. He's converting religion with investing, and it all sounds really good. Let's just say that. I can't talk like that. But you know what? Can Bitcoin hit $10 million each? Yeah, I would say there's definitely a chance, but you gotta wait. You gotta wait a while. It's not gonna come any cycles, soon. Maybe like 10 cycles, 15, 20 cycles from now. But can it hit 8 digits or 7 digits, I should say? Maybe 2 cycles, 3 cycles, right? But first things first, 6 digits, 100,000, which I do believe is still on the cards for this year. That's right. Even with all this happening, even with Mt. Gox FUD and $9 billion being distributed, even with Germany with 2.9 billion left in Bitcoin that they could be selling, even with all these fuddish things and miners still dumping, with all these fuddish things, can Bitcoin still hit 6 figures, 100,000 by the end of this year? Yes, I still believe that's in the works. We are still early. We did not even hit July yet. And I know for a fact that Bitcoin, when it's ready and it starts moving, nothing is going to stop it, including the shorts that are piling on. They will be wrecked, they will be liquidated, and we're going to see a tremendous pump to 100,000. I believe it's going to come right before the end of this year. In fact, I think right around September, October is when we see the true movement. Just like kind of like February and March, we're going to see something like that happen again. Now, if you're looking at charts, because of the recent movements, okay, down from 72,000, yes, from like 2.5 weeks ago to now, we are in very, very, very oversold territory. So if you are a chartist and you believe in charts, well, then believe this. Bitcoin is in extreme oversold levels. In fact, if you look at the last 3 times this has happened, November 2022, that was crypto winter, by the way. Bitcoin went up about 60% shortly afterwards. Okay, 2023, March of 2023, last year, we had the same thing happen. Bitcoin went up 62%. And back in August of 2023, we saw this again. Bitcoin went up almost 200%. These are very extreme oversold levels, and Bitcoin is in that territory again. Even though we're at 61,000, we're not at 22,000, we're not at 16,000. Yes, even at 61,000, the charts are showing we are in extreme oversold levels right now. Here's another one with the weekly RSI. Same thing. Extremely oversold, and you can make the argument this is what we saw back in 2023 when we went sideways for a long time in the 20s, in the 30s. We were not able to break it, and then boom, we didn't stop until we hit $73,000. We are looking like we're repeating that pattern right now, despite the FUD. Remember, 2023, we had a lot of FUD. Coinbase being sued, Binance being sued, CZ being arrested. We still heard of FTX and all their bankruptcy stuff. 2023 was, at least early 2023, was really scary too. 2022 is where all the Black Swan stuff happened. 2023 was still bad, and we survived and we went upward, just like now. We have a lot of FUD now, but not nearly as bad as last year. But even with all that FUD, guess what? Bitcoin does not care. Bitcoin simply driven by code and buyers and sellers. And we have more buyers than sellers, okay, long term. That's just bottom line. There are a lot more buyers, and there are more buyers coming in, which is why the supply is diminishing. The reserves of Bitcoin keeps dropping, and we know that the halving event made it twice as hard to find a single Bitcoin. So supply dropping, demand going up, the price is going to follow. It's just as simple as that, and this is not going to stop, right? And despite our recent downfall, again, if you're looking at how we're moving right now, I know it's a little bit like, it's hard to see, but if you're comparing to the last halving that we had and the halving before that, we are still moving according to plan. We didn't deviate much at all. We didn't have a nasty drop back down to 30,000, right? No, nothing like that. In fact, if you're looking, we're still just going sideways. Just like in 2020 and just like in 2016, we didn't move until probably September, October of those years. So if we continue to just go sideways until September, October, we're just following according to plan, right? But this cycle is accelerated. We have never broken through a previous high before the halving event, and we've done that this year. Just keep that in mind. We've never, ever, ever done that before. We've done that this year, so that means we're in an accelerated cycle. So don't be surprised if we turn up and we start moving way before September, October, like previous cycles, right? And again, if you're looking at these long-term charts, we're moving according to the same patterns that we have seen in prior cycles. Nothing has changed. There's different FUD. Yes, there's always FUD. Every single year, there seems to be more FUD that's coming out. FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt, or depression, or despair, whatever you want to say. A lot of negative words there. But despite the FUD, and we have them every single cycle, we get through. We get through and we continue upwards, and that is exactly what's going to happen later this year and in 2025. It's not going to be any different. So don't be FUDded out in the market right now. In fact, this is a golden opportunity to load up to DCA. This is what you're supposed to do. DCA while things are low, while prices are low, while prices are on a discount. Your favorite crypto and Bitcoin on discount right now. What, 10, 15% off the top. Golden opportunity to continue to DCA and really just continue to hold them, right? Now, outside of Bitcoin, is there anything else? Not much. Not much. Bitcoin and Ethereum transaction fees plummet to the lowest level in 7 months. Okay. What's up with this picture, by the way? Yeah, I don't know what's up with that picture. That's a little discriminatory right there. But it is lowest in 7 months. Yeah, and that's obvious, right? Again, when prices are low, people are not buying and trading as much. No surprise. However, you got Cosmos that's going to adopt fee-free Bitcoin bridge. That's pretty cool. So that all the chains within Cosmos will be able to bridge Bitcoin over. And that's pretty cool. And then lastly, you got like someone like Toncoin that is unaffected by Bitcoin's drop, right? They are just killing it right now. It's surprising. Like even like a day out of today, you would figure everything's going down. But Toncoin is still, even though this marked 4%, I've been tracking it. It's really not down at all. So, I mean, it's crazy that it's holding so well. If you look at over here, let's see. I have it tracked. Well, I guess it's down a little bit. It's down 2% over here according to TradingView, but they certainly been doing really well. Today also Jupiter, Solana is coming up a little bit. Near is going up, which is kind of crazy too. But yeah, not everything. AVAX is only down less than 1%. Even Pepe is down less than 1%. A lot of the alts are not selling off, not nearly as much as Bitcoin and Ethereum, because right now I think there's just a lot of fear over Bitcoin, and there could be some dumping too. Maybe mt.gox does have to sell some of the 9 billion, convert it to cash and give it out, or maybe Germany is selling. But even though right now it does seem like they have stopped, there are definitely still some selling going on. But a lot of the alts are continuing to hold strong as much as they can, reasonably speaking. And that is good. That's because retail is DCAing. They're buying up their favorite alts. And that's the right move. All right, let's do some Q&A. Good turnout this morning. Let's see. Let me scroll up. See what I missed. Everyone's talking about the Octua girl. She like ruined her life with that viral clip, and I don't think she should take advantage of it and capitalize it. But she seems to be like low key and hiding out now. But she's in Nashville, and we're gonna have a crowded combat fight. The next IFC fight, IFC 3, will be there. So I'm hearing she may be there. I don't know. I know crowded combat is trying to get her. All right, let's see. Don't buy the Hawk2 meme. Okay, you're guaranteed to lose money on that. I looked it up. There's like 4 of them. Staff is asking, do you think Bitcoin or MicroStrategy will produce better gains by year's end? You know, that's a good question. I don't know. MicroStrategy has been gaining more over, I think, the last 4 years. They've gained more than Bitcoin, or yeah, 4 years. So I don't know if it's going to continue. It may. It's too hard to guess at this point. John Kettlewell, new member. Awesome. Thanks for joining. Los is asking, do you think altcoin market get back to early 2024 levels? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, let's just check Solana here. Coming up a little bit. Early 2024 levels around here. And then the bottom for Solana was $78. It's at $130. I mean, can they go below? I mean, a couple times Solana bounced off 118 over here. If it goes lower, I anticipate it'll bounce off. So can it go back to early 2017 levels to drop to like 78? I have a hard time seeing that. It's like almost half. Solana has to go down 50% more to reach those levels. I just don't see it. All right, Marshmallow, stop spamming or you're going to be put in a timeout. Kapoor is asking, love from India. What are your thoughts on ADA? Is sitting on bullish diversions in daily, and stock RSI seems to have bottomed out. It's a good time to buy ADA. You can make that argument about anything right now. Bitcoin is extremely oversold. A lot of the alts are extremely oversold. There's a few that are still holding on green, but most of them are quite oversold. So yes, good time to be DCAing for sure. Please address the Solana FUD regarding potential investigation. Haven't heard it at all. So I have no idea. I have no idea what you're talking about. And there is no FUD. Solana is simply going down because of the market. That's really it. And the market picks up again when Bitcoin starts rising. Guess what's going to rise? Solana. It's that simple. Crypto class. Have you heard all about the Solana meme guys coming to Cardano because Charles Pig, Nike? Charles did an X space for 2 hours last night with a bunch of Sol guys. No, and that's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Cardano, man. I would love to see more memes prop it up. Like Sneck kind of led the way, but as far as I know, Charles still does not give them any credit, does not shine any light on them. But Cardano itself, the chain is just so much slower. Even MinSwap is so slow. After you use Jupiter on Solana, you think everything else is just like quite old and dated. Um, yeah, that's not going to happen. If you're going to build a meme, you build it on the most popular chains like Sol or Base, right? Even Base memes are not doing that well anymore. It's mostly just Sol. It's just, if you want a successful launch, you launch it on Sol. You don't launch it on ADA. That's a guaranteed loser if you do. So no, that's not going to happen. Project Cordy says, I am from Scotland, and the word FUD is slang for female downstairs. Is it real? Is it really? That's good to know. I don't know why that's good to know, but it's thanks for sharing. Um, what's your price prediction for Jupiter long term? I mean, I love Jupiter. If you use it, you'll know it's just awesome. It's the best DEX aggregator there is. Um, so I think it's going to do very well. Very well. Ray says if you had to pick one to DCA now, Ton, Jupiter, Render, tempting but concerned, LinkedIn alt bleed versus Bitcoin. If I had to DCA one right now, um, short term, you can't ignore how strong Toncoin has been, right? So if you want something that is extremely strong right now, and I think long term it will probably do well because of how much momentum it has. I think you can't go wrong with Ton. Jupiter and Render are both much more oversold. So from a price appreciation standpoint, especially with their lower market cap, both of them makes more sense than Ton. But I think all three are pretty good. But if I had to choose one right now, like this second, probably Ton. Double barrel photography. Thanks for sharing the Lego room. You have some serious patience to sit there and put all together. It's over time, many, many years. And my wife has built a lot of sets for me. In fact, she's building some right now. And then my kids built some. But overall, sometimes I haven't done it much recently, but during the darker times, during like crypto winter and stuff, and COVID times when I just need to get away and relax. Playing some music and building a Lego set, that did it for me. The ASI token coming next month is interesting. So what's going to happen is Ocean and Singularity are both being converted to FET first. So there's a conversion rate. So once that's done, then they're going to change a fetch coin and chain into the new ASI. There's no timeline on that yet, but just know that if you're holding Ocean or Singularity, they will be converted to FET. And I don't know how that works if you're holding your wallet. You probably need to go to a site to convert, or you have to hold on an exchange, and exchanges will do it for you. Rob Dog, what's Matic got going on? I'm out of the loop right now. Not a whole lot. They have They're still working on Polygon 2.0. They have big grant system for everything, but not a whole lot is going on right now that I hear of. Nothing exciting. Wheezy's asking, Jordan, very tempted to open some BTC leverage in oversold territories. Have you opened any new leverage buys at 61? Not today. I have some that's a little bit higher that I'm in the red right now, but they're lower ones, 3 to 5x, so they're still going. I may DCA more a little bit on those. Is that, if you're looking at charts, Bitcoin is extremely oversold. Extremely oversold. So unless we really get like massive dumping on the open market by Germany or mt.gox, Bitcoin is going to bounce back. So for me, yeah, I'm probably going to open some more or add to what I have soon. No, my living room still has plenty. There's a lot of empty shelves, and I didn't space them all properly. If I really needed to, I could put a lot more in the room. But yeah, I have a lot of sets. A lot of sets. My old house, I had no room whatsoever, so I stopped building. Now I have a little bit more room, but it is filling up pretty fast. Fetch and injected partnership, what does this mean? I don't know. I didn't see it. Let's just make sure no movement. Yeah, I showed off the Bugatti in my video. You must have missed that. I have a lot of the speed sets that are unbuilt. I have almost all the speed cars, but I just haven't built them yet. The Lego room needs Saturn V. I have it. It's just broken up. It was in one of the shelves. I broke it up into smaller pieces. DKane, how do you go about calculating your personal exit levels at cycle top? Really, it's just about how much cash you have on the side. So as things go higher, make sure you increase your cash pile. Right now, I still recommend 25, 30%. But as we go higher, once Bitcoin breaks 100,000, 125, 150, probably smart to increase that cash pile to like 35, 40, 50%. And just keep on increasing it. So when things really start going sour and going down, you're okay. You're locking in those gains, and you're able to then repeat the cycle of DCA long term. So I think that's going to be my strategy. Steve says, hi, George. Banks create new money whenever they make loans. They don't. That's not how it works. They have a reserve. So there's two ways they can make loans. Okay. Number one, if they take in $1,000, they're required before when there was a 10% reserve. And I think it's still in place for the smaller banks. So they take in $1,000, take a loan out $900 out of the $10,000, right? They have to keep a 10% reserve. But recently, what they've been doing is, rather than do that, they take $1,000 and they go borrow $9,000 from the Federal Reserve. because then they amplify how much they could borrow. So they could technically say, well, we have 1,000 reserve, and go borrow $9,000 and loan that out. And they rather do that because they were able to borrow from the Federal Reserve for a much lower interest rate prior, and they make more money on the interest when they loan it out, right? So that's another way they do it. They don't simply create money out of thin air. Not the local banks, not like the JP Morgan Chases of the world. That is how it works. I talk to banks. I talk to branch managers. That's how it works. It's not like they all of a sudden, banks don't have unlimited amount of leeway to just give out unlimited amount of loans. Where are they getting that money from? They don't print money out of thin air. If they're taking $1,000, how can they give out a $10,000 loan when they don't have the $10,000? That it doesn't work that way. They borrow that money from the Federal Reserve. Madden Rotter, what's up with Polygon? The chart looks bad. It does look bad. It does look bad. Polygon's just not. They're shooting themselves in the foot right now. It seems like. I haven't heard anything good about Polygon recently. I'm hoping they could change with Polygon 2. Hopefully they could turn it around, but right now they're just driving everyone away. That's why everyone's going to another L2 like Base or Arbitrum or whatever else that's out there. Yeah, crypto class. Fractional reserve means they lend out 90% of the money they take in. So if they take in 1,000, they can lend out 900 of that 1,000, right? That's what the 10% requirement. But for the larger banks, they're no longer required to have a reserve. So if they take in 1,000, they can lend out 1,000. But that's too low for them, right? If they take in 10 million, they can only loan out 10 million. That's too low. So what they do is they take in the 10 million and go borrow 90 million from the Federal Reserve. That way, they can loan out $90 million. That's how they've been doing it for many, many years. That's how they're over leveraging, right? And technically speaking, if there's no reserve, they take in $10 million, they could go borrow $100 million and then loan out $100 million. So that's how it works. But with the interest high, the Fed fund rate being at 5.25%, they're less inclined to do that. So, so that's part of the reason why when you lower the Fed fund rate, some people may argue like, well, how does that, prop up the economy? How does the economy get better? Well, banks are more, it becomes easier for banks to borrow money to loan out. That means businesses will be more inclined to borrow money and spend money, and the cycle starts from there. I wonder if liquidation levels are stacking up. You know what? They are, but on the short side. The short side contracts are piled up to the moon. Billions upon billions. Just to get back to 70,000 now. I don't know the latest number, but when we were at 67,000, it was like $1.7 billion of the shorts between 67 and 70. Now that we're at 61, it's probably like 4 or 5 billion worth of short contracts. So if we get that little push back up, the FUD and the selling stop, we get that momentum back up, we are going to see some massive short squeezes, and we could be back to 72,000 in no time. Han says, don't ruin his dreams. Maybe he wants to make a bank where he prints his own money. Do I hold a lot of objective? Not really, no. Not a whole lot. Are ETFs dumping? Last week, ETFs had massive outflow. I don't have the exact numbers right now, but yeah, last week, massive outflows, except BlackRock. BlackRock was the only one that didn't have any outflows. Everyone else did. Grayscale did, Fidelity did, ARK did. But BlackRock, they know what's going on. They don't want to sell any. All right, guys. I'll let you guys go. I will be traveling starting this afternoon for the rest of this week, but I'll make sure to either stream or put out a video for you guys. But today, the new FUD is definitely mt.gox. On top of Germany selling, will mt.gox sell? And if not, when they distribute, will those people sell? That's the major question. That's why we have more weakness today. But if you understand Bitcoin, you know that this is temporary. We will get through the FUD. We always do. A lot of people are starting to recognize you can't trust fiat. You can't trust governments. You have to trust assets that are decentralized and have a set supply, right? That's Bitcoin. So stay strong, my friends. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.